So it's Friday, and I normally take a slightly more lighthearted look at a piece of news that's caught my eye over the preceding week, but this just jumped out at me. It's a Daily Beast article which details an internal email sent by Stephen Bannon, the new chairman of the Trump campaign, when he was at Breitbart back in 2014, in which he calls the GOP leadership all, quotes, cunts, saying moreover that they should go buck wild and that let the grassroots turn on the hate, because that's the only thing that will make them do their duty. Them, of course, being the GOP leadership. Now, the interesting thing to note is that since 2014, the GOP leadership really hasn't changed all that much. The only major inclusion, of course, is Paul Ryan. And it's interesting also to note that Stephen Bannon was vociferously against Paul Ryan's recent re-election, coming out in favour of Paul Nealon, who was his opponent and had a number of fairly unpalatable views, one of which was to deport all Muslims. Any sense that the Trump campaign is going to become a team player, any sense that the Trump campaign is going to try to appeal to a broader base than those who came out for him in the primary, has now gone out of the window. It is the Breitbart alternative right view has arguably, well, it's not really that much of an argument actually, has given rise to Donald Trump, has pumped oxygen into that vitriol and has given rise to Donald Trump. So now he has this Stephen Bannon at his helm, and that is the view that he takes of the GOP leadership. And it is the mark of the self-involved narcissist to surround himself with people who echo his views. He wants a yes man in that position. And so any semblance that this is going to be a sensible campaign go forward has now gone out of the window. They are now operating at the behest of the GOP leadership, and the GOP is beginning to crumble yet further and implode even more. Now, should we care? I should say that we should care. Of course, I'm not shedding any tears for the demise of the GOP and the predicament that they found themselves in, nor am I pitiful for the predicament that they've got themselves in. It's largely self-generated and I don't agree with their views. But it is important and crucial, I think, in the modern world and in the modern debate to have a viable alternative party. And with this move, this creates a real problem and an impasse, I think, for political discourse in this country. In the absence of a sensible Republican Party that is cohesive and has a sensible candidate, it is very, very difficult to actually have a sensible discourse in which ideas and progress with a small p can actually legitimately be made. The other thing to bear in mind is that a sensible, viable Republican Party will keep the Democrats sensible and viable and honest in both senses of the word. Honest in terms of the specifics of Hillary Clinton as a candidate, literally keeping her honest. Trust is obviously a big issue for her, and honest in terms of the philosophy and the policy and the politics of that party. If the alternative right takes over the Republican Party and pushes it even further off the spectrum, then that gives all the room to the Democrats to move into that central right position. And any sense of being a progressive party, any sense of of embodying some of that groundswell of support of the Bernie Sanders campaign, any sense of it really being a workers' party, starts to be chipped away at and ebbs away. And so I think it is critical. And the other important thing to note is that the continuance of this Trump campaign further legitimizes those sinister, nasty, unpalatable comments and unpalatable views that have been given legitimacy. I'm talking about the xenophobia, the racism, the bigotry that has been given legitimacy by the rise of the Trump campaign, and the fact that you have Stephen Bannon, who is now the chief executive of the Trump campaign, with those types of views of the GOP leadership in the helm, gives further legitimacy to those views and is extremely troubling. And whilst we delight at the demise, I worry for the political future of this country.